the second overall pick in the NFL draft, the Washington Commanders take Jayden Daniels.
Not his name. Not his name. Future Hall of Famer Jayden Daniels, now a member of my Washington Commanders. Super Bowl, here we come.
Does his plaque go alongside future Hall of Famer Sam Howell?
It does.
Okay.
It does. Although I've heard rumors Howell may now go in as a Seahawk. It doesn't matter. Jayden Daniels is a future Hall of Famer. I'm on board. So sure, maybe he took too many sacks in college and he's not particularly big, and as you said, maybe only an average arm. Whatever.
That was from draft night.
Yeah.
Future Hall of Famer Jayden Daniels, good start to his career. Great week. QB3 finish, Matthew, 28.1 fantasy points.
What was so exciting here, I mean, there's a million things, right? Like, we finally have hope. We have a quarterback. Not since RG3's rookie year do you feel like, as a Commander fan, you finally have hope. But fantasy-wise as well, like, you know what I mean? Like, he 91% completion rate. Like, the argument against Jayden Daniels was like, well, it's all dink and dunk stuff, and eventually they're going to have to stop running him because of his frame, and he's going to get hurt. Well, he was chucking it deep. Like, all the stuff that everyone's talking about with Anthony Richardson, Jayden Daniels actually did last night. He's running and he's throwing it deep as well. For the season, he's the second best quarterback in fantasy football. He's had double-digit rush attempts in every game this season. They're not scared to use him at the goal line. You saw the RPO where he kept it instead of Robinson, and he gets into the end zone as well. He's a top 5 fantasy quarterback going forward. Hail the Commanders, hail victory. This is awesome. This is awesome.
Yep. No, it was very exciting. I think the knock on Daniels outside of the potential physical toll that he'll take was that he doesn't use the middle of the field. Well, if he's dinking dunking deep balls and he's the best runner in the league, then he doesn't need the middle of the field to be an elite fantasy option.
On the other side of this big night
By the way, and he found Zach Ertz and Luke McCaffrey, converted some fourth downs as well. That was a huge win. Huge win for the franchise. Huge win for Jayden Daniels. Like, you know, again.
Hail victory.
Hail victory. Hail the Commanders.
Hail hope.
Yeah, absolutely.
The night we've been waiting for from Jamar Chase, almost 30 fantasy points. And Matthew, a really nice call on your Monday Night Football prop on Jamar Chase getting in the end zone.
I will allude to again. Jamar Chase, boat races, my Commanders. I'm predicting 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. You heard me. 100 yards and 2 touchdowns as Jamar Chase finishes as the #1 wide receiver in fantasy football for Week 3. He boat races my Commanders. Worth noting that through 2 weeks, no team has allowed more fantasy points or touchdowns to opposing wide receivers than my Washington Commanders. Jamar Chase, proud fantasy life investor, goes off on Monday night. There you go. Got that right, except for the fact I didn't think Juwan Jennings was going to have 3 touchdowns. So Jamar Chase, he gets over 100 yards, 118 to be exact. He gets the 2 tutties, finishes second in fantasy points to Juwan Jennings. But Jamar's back.
I think there's a pretty decent chance Jamar Chase ends the season as the #1 receiver in fantasy just because his defense is atrocious, and I think they're going to be throwing the ball a ton.
Which is one of the reasons why you're excited about Joe Burrow. T. Higgins back. Nice to see him get 6 targets in his first game back as well. 90% snap rate. He's going to be just fine as a wide receiver, too. The 2 other big takeaways I'll take away from the Cincinnati game here. Zach Moss, 100% of the team's goal line rushes this season. And he had a 15% target share. They're not scared to use him in the passing game as well. He finishes as a top 10 running back as well. If they're going to use him in the passing game and he gets the goal line work, you're looking at a top 15 running back the rest of the way. Mike Gesicki splitting time with Eric All, but again, the tight end position is so brutal, I think you still have to keep rolling with him.
A nice note here, guys, because the Commanders were 7.5-point underdogs. This season, underdogs of at least 5.5 points are 14-2 against the spread. Jay, they're 10-6 outright on the money line right now.
Yep.
Big underdog season.
Always say trends are more descriptive than predictive. I think this is just randomness, but it is exciting. It's thrown up some crazy results.
It's early in the season,
I wouldn't be blasting underdogs purely because of this going forward.
The other game here, the Bills just
boat raced.
Demolished Jacksonville. There's not a lot to say. Josh Allen's a superstar in fantasy and in real life. Jacksonville's a disaster, Matthew.
The Bills did to Jacksonville what I did to Denny in the League of Assholes.
They slapped the Jags like a grape.
Yeah, do you know who my quarterbacks are in the League of Assholes? Josh Allen and Jayden Daniels. Just saying. Yeah. Let's go. The only real takeaway I have here from the Bills, obviously, they were great across the board, is that it does feel like finally we got something out of Dalton Kincaid, which is awesome, even though it was on a scramble play. It was like the 3rd read, but still, we'll take it. But Khalil Shakir now has double-digit fantasy points in all 3 games and feels like, even though they're spreading the ball around, that if there is a Bills receiver to trust, it is Khalil Shakir. The Jaguars are a disaster.
Yeah, they're a mess. Jay, great call. First quarter prop for Christian Kirk. Cashes over 3.5 receiving yards. I love that market.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotorWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest Roto-World fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.